I had another student who never finished his writing assignments on time. Like, he just, something about writing, I think, made him anxious. He automatically assumed he would fail or not be good at it, so he didn't even try to finish it all. And so the consequence he came up with was that he would come in for the first 10 minutes of lunch and finish it with me. And what I realized was, so we were talking about it, and I was like, well, how am I going to hold you to that? Because I don't have you before lunch. You're in someone else's room. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, when that bell rings, you're going to want to play basketball with your friends, and you're not going to come to this class. And he was like, yeah. So what can we do to solve for that? And he was like, well, what if we tell my friends and then they hold me accountable? So right then and there, I had him text all his friends, hey, I have to go to Miss Hunter's room before lunch. Make sure I get there. They came in, pushed him in the room, giggling, and then they went off to play basketball. That student and I worked together. We did that for like a week and a half when I realized he liked it. He did this on purpose because he didn't feel confident about his writing skills, and he really wanted the one-to-one tutoring, but he didn't want to seem like he did, and he didn't want to seem stupid in front of his friends, and so he would just act silly and waste time. So that was another instance of where I allowed a student to come up with their own consequence.
So this TikToker by the name of Corinth did a really amazing thing in her classroom. And it really is a teachable moment for not only like the educational environment, but also larger systems of like sort of justice, accountability, and self-improvement. Because what she did is she recognized that there was a problem, she went to the person directly about that problem, and then tried to find some sort of method of resolution alongside them. Now, this is really, really interesting, and it's really useful not only in the individual context of like raising children or running like a classroom, but also in the larger context of society as a whole and conflict resolution. Because when people are just handed down dictates and they're punished in one way or another, they don't really learn anything because that is not a participatory process. They view other people's will as being imposed on them. They have their agency stripped away, and in that stripping away of their own agency, basically what they have is learning the wrong lessons. And very often you have people like falling into this learned helplessness trap. But when you bring somebody in and you confront them with what the problem is, and then work together to find some sort of resolution that can work, which still definitely requires action from the person who is engaging in problematic behavior, but because they are an active participant in helping figure out what would lead to some sort of resolution, then you can create a new environment where they actually feel more comfortable and actually empowered by changing their behavior. But it also says something that's really important regarding our American education system in general that I want to touch on, and that is the fact that our education system today very much is focused on this sort of like punishment mentality where children get punished for doing specific things in the classroom, and that's just kind of it. But this type of engagement can lead to conversations where you recognize why students might be struggling in one way or another. And this is the hard work that some teachers do to go out of their way to figure out how they can actually work with students to like improve their behavior in the long term and make the student feel empowered and comfortable in the moment. And a lot of students who do struggle sometimes will misbehave because they might be embarrassed because there are just social realities that exist, not only as being a kid, but also just being a person living in the world. And there's ways to go about reconciliation and improve behavior while also people saving face. Now, obviously, that varies based on like the different context and situation, but we can learn from this. And the way we can learn from this is understanding that people not only have like personal needs, but they also have social needs. And if you're trying to figure out different ways of reconciling various problems, it's important to take all of those into consideration. And it's important sometimes to craft a little bit of ceremony, a little bit of what could be viewed as arbitrary or meaningless, but does have some sort of social or cultural meaning that maintain somebody's image even while they're improving their behavior. But all of that gets lost when you're dealing with bureaucratic systems. In our criminal justice system, for example, if somebody's like committing a crime like selling drugs, for example, then our criminal justice system is basically just going to funnel them into prison. It is going to punish them for that activity. But is it really going to change anything? The reality is, no. If anything, prison actively makes people worse because it puts people in a dangerous environment, in a hostile environment that is not only not conducive to learning, but it actually incentivizes and teaches people the wrong lessons about the world. And so the way people go about surviving in prison teaches them all the wrong lessons about the world, so that when they come out, very often they have a difficult time unlearning that prison mentality. So that when they come out, very often they struggle. And then to talk about the social situation, the stigma that we put on people who have previously been in prison actively harms their ability to get housing and to get a job and a litany of other things like that. And we do the exact opposite. So instead of helping people save face, and instead of actually like working with people to figure out how we can change behavior, we needlessly punish people in overly brutal ways, and then we cast them with a bunch of social stigma. So, is it any wonder why the United States has one of the highest recidivism rates in the world? But this is the problem, is that we normalize this type of mentality all the way from our school system up to adulthood, so that when children get punished in schools, people are taught that this punishment mentality, so that when people grow up, they maintain this punishment mentality, and then none of these problems ever really get solved, which is why it's really amazing when teachers step in and actually do this and try to figure out some type of social accountability, some type of involvement and participatory reconciliation process, so that the student can actually get their homework done and they can learn what they need to learn and they can do a better job and they can feel like they have the support of their friends. This is what we need. This is the type of mentality that we should be approaching all of the systems that we have. When somebody is struggling in some way, we should have systems that reach out to those people, try to figure out some way that they feel empowered in improving their own conditions and improving their own behavior if that's necessary, and then involving other members of the community to help them achieve their goal. This is Ben Carollo with Rebel Headquarters. You can catch my show Galaxy Brain every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the Young Turks Twitch channel, and you can follow me at Benjamin Carollo on Twitter.